Hello there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the IM3 2.3 Part 1 homework solutions on factoring trinomials basic.
To factor this trinomial, we're going to need to find factors of 30 that add up to 13. And since 30 is positive and 13 is positive, that's telling us that both factors will be positive. So things that multiply to 30, we've got 1 and 30, but those don't add up to 13. 2 and 15 subtracts to 13, but doesn't add up to it. How about 3 and 10? Yeah, that adds up to 13. So our answer then is going to be x plus 3 and parentheses x plus 10. To factor this expression, we're going to need to find factors of 35 that add up to negative 12. So things that multiply to positive 35, so first off, both factors need to be the same sign, and since they add up to a negative, that means they're both negative. So things that multiply to 35, we've got 1 and 35. That does not add up to 12. The next thing is 5 and 7, and that's about it. 5 and 7, negative 5 and negative 7 would add up to negative 12. So we can then write x minus 5 and x minus 7. To factor this expression, we need factors of 44 that add up to negative 15. Now, since 44 is positive, that means both factors are the same sign, both negative since they add up to a negative. So things that multiply to 44, we've got 1 and 44. That's not going to add up to 15. 2 and 22 also fails. 4 and 11 is going to work. If we have x minus 4 and x minus 11, that's going to add up to negative 15 and multiply to positive 44. On this problem, we're trying to factor this expression. Since we only have a coefficient of 1 next to the p squared, we just need to find factors of negative 12 that add up to this middle coefficient of negative 1. So the factors are going to have opposite signs because they multiply to give us a negative. And since the middle term is negative, that means that the negative is going to have a larger absolute value. So things that multiply to 12, we've got 1 and 12. There's no way to get negative 1 out of that. 2 and 6 also can't get negative 1 out of that. 3 and 4, well, if we had positive 3 and negative 4, that would add up to negative 1. So we can rewrite this then as the product of parentheses p plus 3 and p minus 4. For this problem, we're trying to factor this trinomial here. I just need to find factors of 108 that add up to negative 12. So let's see here. We know they're both going to be negative. Since this is a positive constant that they multiply to, they're both the same sign. Since they add up to a negative, that means they're both negative. So basically things that add up to 12 and multiply to 108. So we've got 1 times 108. That's not even close to adding up to 12. 2 and 54, still not even close. Does 3 go into 108? Well, I'm going to use my calculator here to just start getting some of these numbers, just to be on the safe side. So 3 and 36, that's not going to work. 108 divided by 4. 4 and 27, not going to work. How about 108 and 6? That would be 18. That adds up to 24, 6 and 18, so still not even close. 108 and, I don't know, does 7 work? Nope, and I skipped 5. I know 5 doesn't work. 108 divided by 8. Nope, still not going to work. 108, I know 9's going to work because 1 and 8 add up to 9. The digits add up to 9. So 9 and 12, that adds up to 21. Still no good. 10 doesn't go into 108. 11 does not go into 108. It goes into 110. And if we do 12, well, now we're back to where we started. 12 goes into 108 9 times, and we're just repeating the same factors that we already tried. So since none of the factorizations that are out there are going to work for this, that means this is unfactorable, so we write prime. To factor this expression, we need factors of negative 30 that add up to 7. And they're going to have opposite signs because they're multiplying to give us a negative. So that means they're going to have to basically be numbers that subtract in some way to give us 7. So let's try out combinations. We have 1 times 30. That doesn't subtract to 7. 2 times 15. That's better, but that gives us 13 if we subtract not 7. 3 times 10. Well, this shows promise. If we had negative 3 and positive 10, so 10 minus 3 basically, that would work. So then we can write b minus 3 b plus 10. To factor this expression, we just need factors of negative 3 that add up to 2. Because they multiply to give us a negative, this negative 3, that means our factors have opposite signs, and they have to add up to 2. So let's try out some combinations. There's really only one way to get negative 3. Well, two ways. You can do 1 times negative 3 or negative 1 times positive 3. Since we want this to come out to a positive 2, we're going to do negative 1 and positive 3. So we can write p minus 1 and p plus 3. To factor this trinomial, I need factors of 70 that add up to negative 17. Because this is positive that they're multiplying to, the factors both have the same sign. Because they add up to a negative, that means they're both negative. So things that multiply to 70 and add up to 17, we've got, let's see, 1 and 70 doesn't work, 2 and 35 is not going to work, 5 and 14 doesn't work. What comes next after that? 7 and 10. Well, that's kind of the obvious one, right? 7 times 10 is 70. That adds up to 17 also, 7 plus 10. So then, and they have to both be negative, so we can write then x minus 7 and parentheses x minus 10. To factor this one, we need factors of 108 that add up to negative 21. And we know the factors are both going to be negative. Since they multiply to give us a positive, they're both going to be the same sign. Since they add up to give us a negative, they're both going to be negative. So let's see here. Let's try some things that multiply to 108. 1 and 108, that does not add up to 21. 2 and 54 also is way off. Then there's 3 and 36, and you can use a calculator to find these combinations. 3 and 36 does not add up to 21. We've got 4 and 27. Well, that adds up to 31, so that's getting better, but still not what we want. How about, let's see here, 5 doesn't go into that. 6 goes in. How many times does 6 go into this? Well, let's see here. 6 goes into 120 20 times. So this is 12 less than that. So 6 times 18, that does not add up to 21. It's close, though. It's 24. How about, let's see here, 7 doesn't go into this. 8. Does 8 go into this? Not quite. 8 goes into 96, but it won't go into this because this is not 16 more than that. What else do we have? Oh, 9. 1 and 8 adds up to 9. The digits add up to 9. So we know this is divisible by 9. So let's see here. 9 goes into 99 11 times, so this would be 12 times. 9 plus 12 is 21. So they're both negative. That means we're going to have m minus 9 and m minus 12. On this one, to factor this trinomial, I need factors of 99 that add up to 20. Since they multiply to give me a positive, they've got the same sign, and they add up to a positive, so they're both positive. So this is kind of a nice situation to be in here. So things that multiply to 99, we've got 1 and 99, but that does not add up to 20. 3 and 33 also does not add up to 20. And what else works? Well, there's, let's see here, 9 and 11. 9 plus 11 is 20, so we can write x plus 9 and parentheses x plus 11.